creating cultural awareness and understanding. This is Culture Clique. Culture Clique is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University.
You might get a real charge out of today's Culture Clique, especially if you have or have been thinking about getting an electric vehicle. 2 electric vehicle, or EV, charging stations have been added to the Winona State University campus. The charging stations are available to use by WSU students, employees, and the general public. Campus Sustainability Director Nathan Engstrom joins us on the phone to talk about the ins and outs of EV charging and the benefits these stations could have for our community as a whole. I'm Bill Stoneberg. Stick around as we get amped over electric vehicle chargers.
We're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down.
I'm here with Nathan Engstrom. He's the Campus Sustainability Director here at Winona State University, and we are going to talk about electric vehicle charging stations that were installed on campus today. Thanks so much for joining us today, Nathan.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. So I was reading about the chargers that have been installed on campus, and it says we have 2 15.4 kilowatt level 2 electric vehicle chargers. It sounds great, but me as a layperson looking at this, and I'm not familiar with electric vehicle chargers. What does that mean, and what is level 2? What is all this information?
Sure. So the level 2 refers to essentially how much energy it can pump into an electric vehicle over what period of time.
Okay.
So a level 1 charging station would be something just like the typical household electrical plug, like you would have on the wall of your house or your garage. And obviously, that's going to take a very long time to charge an electric vehicle. A level 2 charging station is then several times faster than that typical household outlet.
Okay.
So in our case, like you mentioned, we have these 15.4 kilowatt chargers. So that means they can pump up to 1,540 watts of electricity into an electric vehicle at a time. And so electric vehicles have obviously battery packs have a certain capacity, and so the amount of energy you can pump in there per unit time just goes to affect how quickly people can fill up those battery packs. So the higher the kilowatt rating on the charger, the faster it's going to fill up your electric vehicle.
Oh, wow. Cool. So can more than one vehicle charge at these stations at once, or is it one at a time?
So we have 2 individual charging stations. Each one's able to serve 1 vehicle at a time. So
Okay.
1 vehicle per charging station, 2 vehicles total for the installation we have at WSU.
Okay. Is there, I know you mentioned, the wattages directly affects how quickly it can charge. How long would an average electric vehicle take to charge?
So a good example might be a Tesla. Let's just say someone's got a Tesla Model 3. It's got, let's say, it's about 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. So then you just have to take that 100 kilowatt hour battery pack divided by the 15.4 kilowatt of the charging station, and you'd get, what would that be, about 8 hours or so to charge that battery from empty. So it's obviously going to depend on how large the battery pack is, how close to empty it is, and then how long someone's unable to sit there.
Okay.
But in general, for something like that Tesla, if they're empty, it's going to take 8 hours. So we're not really looking so much at situations where people are coming in on empty. More than likely, the scenario would be someone just needs to top off for an hour or 2. Or let's say a faculty or staff member or student might plug in while they're in class for a couple hours or something of that nature.
Okay. And then where are the chargers located on campus?
So they're in the Silver Crisco lot number 32, right there by Crisco Commons, in the first row, closest to the building near the entrance to the bookstore for people who are familiar with the WSU campus. So off of Huff Street, there in front of Crisco Commons.
Okay. So since they're located on campus, I know that some people might think, well, then can I use them? Are they available to the public to use as well, or just students and faculty?
Everybody. So that's been part of the plan and the hope for this since the very beginning, is we want this to be very much a community project and a public project. So the charging stations are available for anyone to use. So while we are going to have different pricing structures for students and faculty and make it a little bit more affordable and incentivize our own community to use it within WSU. The chargers are certainly open and to the public in general, and we are very open and encouraging of anyone who has the need for them to come and take advantage of that technology.
Nice. I really like that we're bringing this to the community, you know. I think that's a fantastic thing. How did the project get started? What was the genesis of this?
Well, one thing that's been kind of overarching this project and a lot of other work on campus is that the WSU has the ultimate goal of carbon neutrality, that we over time want to move our campus towards having no net carbon emissions from our various operations. And energy is a big part of that, and energy from transportation is a big part of that. And so we see vehicle electrification as part of that carbon neutrality goal and process. And so on average, charging a new electric vehicle produces far fewer global warming pollutants than driving an average gasoline car. So vehicle electrification is part of that plan to move our campus towards low and no carbon sources to meet our carbon neutrality goal.
Right. For those of our listeners that may not be familiar with these terms, can you tell us a little bit, like, what does carbon neutrality mean? What are we looking at when we're talking about a goal of that at Winona State?
Yeah, so in that context, what you're generally looking at is the energy that it takes to run all of the different operations. So common ones would be the electricity we purchase, the natural gas we purchase, gasoline and diesel for vehicle operations, all that sort of thing. And so you can quantify the emissions from those various fuels that you consume to run your operations on campus. And so you can quantify that number from all those different sources and translate that into this one single metric of carbon emissions, carbon dioxide emissions. And then the overall goal is then to make those changes to our operations, to our fuel sources, to our technologies, to eventually drive that number to zero, to say that overall, over the course of all of our different operations, on average, sort of in a typical cycle, we're looking to drive that number down to zero by changing technologies, changing behavior, just generally making modifications to how we do the day-to-day operations of campus in ways both big and small.
Okay. Sounds like we're kind of trying to set an example for other organizations and the community as a whole, huh?
That's a big part of it. So we really see this charging station project as an opportunity to engage, educate, and lead the community by example. And so by having these highly visible charging stations with public access, we can help the Winona community experience the viability of electric-powered transportation.
How did we assess the need for this? So, like, you know, are there a lot of electric vehicles already in Winona, or are we kind of maybe trying to help people decide to get an electric vehicle? How do we assess this?
Both of those sorts of things. So as we're seeing on a national and global basis, obviously vehicle electrification is something that gets talked about a lot just in general. So every major car manufacturer is moving towards electrifying their fleets. Every major manufacturer is launching new electric vehicles. It's something that's continuously in the news. We're certainly starting to see our students, faculty, and staff begin to adopt these types of vehicles. So, yes, there are at least 7 or 8 faculty and staff members that I know of that have electric vehicles. There's many additional community members in Winona who have either pure battery electric vehicles or plug-in hybrids.
Okay.
So we know that there's that existing, relatively small, to be honest, demand right now. But we see the writing on the wall. We see what these billion-dollar global corporations are investing in, and they're investing in electricity for vehicles. They're going all in with EVs. And so we know that's where the future lies. And so we want to be able to be on the front edge of that transformation, to be the leaders with that transformation, and really lead the charge rather than playing catch-up several years down the road.
Right. Lead the charge. I like that. That should be a slogan, right?
Absolutely. I think that is what we're trying to do with this project.
Excellent. So I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but does Winona State University have electric vehicles already in their fleet, or?
We have 2 on order. So we have ordered 2 Chevrolet Bolt battery electric vehicles. Those will be going into the rental motor pool for faculty, staff, and student use for official campus travel. We expect delivery of those sometime in July. So pretty soon, when people come back in the fall, for sure, and as soon as we can loosen up those travel restrictions, we will have those electric vehicles ready for the campus to use for campus-related travel. And then we've also purchased 2 basically utility carts for our facilities grounds department to use for their operations as well. So we're beginning the transformation of our fleet to electric with those first few vehicles that we've already purchased and have on order. And facilities is making the commitment that that's going to be the direction we go, that over time we're going to convert as many of those fleet vehicles as possible to electric as budget and technology allow.
Okay, nice. So I'm just kind of curious, besides the obvious benefits of, lower carbon emissions and carbon neutrality, what do you see as the benefit of an electric car? Like, do you drive one yourself, or have you ridden in one? What's it like?
Yeah, in general, what people really love about electric vehicles is their silent operation. People really rave about the technology. It's just a very high-tech vehicle compared to what most people are used to. Performance-wise, you see a lot of really impressive performance specifications in terms of 0 to 60 times and horsepower ratings, so you certainly get the performance benefits from electric vehicles. If you get into more of the kind of technological side and more of that auto enthusiast, you get instant torque, so you get, again, sort of more of those performance characteristics that car enthusiasts really like to rave about. And you get the benefits of the environmental benefits that come along with that, about doing the right thing in terms of one's own commitments to helping to protect the environment and address things like global warming. So it's really a combination of performance enhancements, about technology, embracing kind of the cutting edge of vehicle design, as well as doing the right thing environmentally and personally.
Right, so we can have a fast car and feel good about it too? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So that's kind of what this is about. It's not about making compromises. It's not about doing without. It's about getting everything you want out of a vehicle and extra benefits on top of that as well.
Right. And I'm kind of thinking that you may have kind of touched on this already when we were talking about the wattage level and the type of chargers. But how long can electric cars go at this point, or does it depend on the model?
So there's a lot of variability, certainly. So it does depend on the model. Each model is rated by the EPA, just like you have miles per gallon ratings for typical gasoline vehicles. You have MPG equivalent ratings for electric vehicles. They also do on those car label stickers that go on the windshields or on the windows. You have the range ratings for the vehicles as well. So vehicles are able to just, every generation you see more capacity in terms of range. So right now, kind of a basic electric vehicle like the Chevrolet Bolt that we're purchasing for the motor pool have a summer range of about 200 miles. They can travel 200 miles on a full charge of those battery packs. Higher-end vehicles, especially when you start getting into some of the Tesla types of vehicles, they're pushing those ranges now over 400 miles, or close to that 400-mile mark. So you're getting basically a per-tank equivalent of what many typical gasoline cars would have.
Right.
So once that battery pack is full, you can travel 300-400 miles with today's modern electric vehicles.
Wow.
And then the only main limitation that people still get hung up on is an issue of charging, because obviously it takes a longer amount of time to charge that battery pack than does fill up your gas tank. But there, if you change your behavior and you change your expectation, you can make that less of a hassle as well.
Right.
That's part of what we're trying to do with this project, is make charging more accessible, easier, build it into part of your typical day, so you don't have to sit there for 8 hours necessarily to charge from zero. You can top off quickly in just maybe half an hour or an hour and make it a much more manageable thing, because you can combine that with your existing work, your existing class schedule, maybe you just get some lunch or a cup of coffee, and it doesn't have to become this big burden.
Definitely. How about cost? What does it cost to hook up and charge on one of these stations?
So right now, when we are launching these chargers, we're pricing the cost of the charging sessions at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. So let's take that example of that Tesla 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. If that car charges from empty, they're going to be paying $10, if my math was correct, to charge that tank to full.
Okay.
So 100 kilowatt hours times 10 cents a kilowatt hour should give you a $10 cost of filling that tank, so to speak. So in that sense, it's quite a bit less than what you would typically pay at the pump to get that equivalent amount of energy in a gasoline-powered car. Now, our rates might be a little bit lower than what some people might see elsewhere, but overall, that's another thing EV drivers like to point out is that in almost all circumstances, they're able to operate at a significantly lower cost per mile than a gasoline-powered equivalent vehicle would.
Right. That sounds like a good deal. I'm starting to think next time I shop for a vehicle, I got some food for thought here. Definitely.
It's a pretty compelling proposition when you start to add everything up. Absolutely.
It definitely is. I know there's a charging station at Bluff Country Co-op. Are there other charging stations around town as well, or?
In terms of in Winona, so we've got the co-op, we've got now at WSU, a couple of the car dealerships that have electric vehicles that their manufacturers sell, I believe do have charging stations, so I think you can find one at Sugarloaf Ford and at Bell Toyota. I haven't used those personally. I don't know much of the details about those chargers. But that's something that we're going to be working on, too, is getting a map on our website through the sustainability part of the WSU website that does have an interactive map of charging stations across the country.
Okay.
That's part of the plan, too, is to make that information a lot more readily available and easy for people to access.
Right.
So that you don't have to play a guessing game when you try to look about where you can find that nearest charging station.
Right. That's interesting. That was my next question. I was going to ask if there was a directory. Is there like any kind of app or something people can use to find these?
There's
map?
quite a few. So in many cases, electric vehicles themselves come with those charging station maps as part of their infotainment systems or their GPS system.
Okay.
So most new EVs have that information built in as part of their electronics. So, for instance, Tesla is really good about doing that, although it mostly points you towards the Tesla superchargers as opposed to the other non-Tesla charging stations.
Mm-hmm.
You can Google electric vehicle charging stations, so Google Maps has those locations available. Now, there's also websites like PlugShare and Plug in America that also maintain nationwide, to some extent, global databases about those locations as well. So there's quite a lot of online information, and then those vehicles are getting smart themselves about being able to provide their users with that information directly through their own onboard system.
Right. Oh, pretty soon we won't even have to steer the wheel, right?
That's a big part of it, too. So you're seeing a lot more with that autonomous driving technology, and certainly a company like Tesla is leading the charge for that type of technology as well.
Right. It looks like we're looking at an increase in safety and cost and emissions, everything. So I'm liking it.
That's the goal, and I think that's really what EV advocates always point out, is that you really are looking at a really wide range of benefits, very little downside, and those downsides can be easily mitigated. And as technology improves, the last little bits of hesitation are going to disappear pretty quickly.
Right. Do you think that having these EV charging stations installed here at Winona State, does that kind of send a message or make a statement to the community at large? Like, are we kind of, I don't know. What does this tell the community, or what do we want people to know really about this?
It does. It tells the community that this technology is real, it's tangible, it's here in our own community. This isn't just something that exists somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just something that's in the cities or on the West Coast or wherever else. This is something that is real and tangible and concrete in our own community. It's only going to get bigger and more prominent. This is the way of the future. It's really an endorsement of those types of ideas and a very tangible physical statement that says we believe in the viability of electric-powered transportation, and we're showing you that it's a real thing that you can see and touch and interact with in a very first-hand way.
Definitely, and I think it also, I think you touched on this, that it allows people to say, oh, there are charging stations in my town. I can think about getting one of these, So, yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think it's a wonderful thing.
And that's one of the big obstacles we have heard from people is just that, sure, they've been thinking about it, it sounds interesting, but having that charging station available more readily, having it be more obvious, a part of their day-to-day, is definitely going to push people over the edge to make those decisions. It just takes away one less hesitation.
Definitely. Well, I've been here talking to Nathan Engstrom. He's the Campus Sustainability Director here at Winona State University, and we're talking about the new electric vehicle charging stations that have been installed. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us today. I think this is a great topic to talk about, and hopefully we can see more of this happening in the future. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks again to Winona State University Campus Sustainability Director Nathan Engstrom for joining us today on Culture Clique. For more information on the new EV charging stations, go to winona.edu and search electric vehicle. To keep up on all things Winona and the surrounding area, tune into Culture Clique Thursdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and we've just heard from Winona State University Campus Sustainability Director Nathan Engstrom on Culture Clique.
Creating cultural awareness and understanding. You've been listening to Culture Clique. Support for Culture Clique is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Culture Clique is produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. For more information, look us up on the web at kqal.org. And thanks for listening to Culture Clique.
Can't get food for that kid. Good God, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no! Oh Lord, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Who is to blame in what country? Never can get to the one. Dealing in multiplication, and they still can't feed everyone. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, out in the street, out in the street, out in the daytime, out in the night. Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Out in the street, out in the street, out in the playground, in the dark side of town. Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Hey, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue. Oh yeah, rock it in the daytime, Electric Avenue. Rock it in the night, take it higher, Electric Avenue. Rock it in Miami, Electric Avenue.
Are you interested in all things Winona and the surrounding area? Find podcasts of Culture Clique and all your favorite KQAL shows at kqal.org. Culture Clique is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.